Call to order the called meeting for Friday, April 5th. We have a motion to receive and file the call letter. I'm going to need a motion.
So moved.
Need a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. On to old business.
Old business item A, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute amendment number 1 to the agreement between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and GRW Engineers, Inc. to provide engineering services in connection with the design, construction, and agency approvals of the 2022 Water and Sewer Capital Improvements Project for the Department of Engineering, increasing the contract in the amount of $9,855.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item B, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute and submit a grant application to the Cuyahoga Interstate Planning Commission for a surface transportation block grant in the amount of $50,000 for the Multimodal Transportation Center project for the Department of Engineering, and if awarded, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute on behalf of the City of Ashland any and all documents associated with the grant and its acceptance."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item C, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a conditional commitment letter for a Kentucky Infrastructure Authority loan for the Ashland lead service line inventory and assessment project in the amount not to exceed $874,130 for the Department of Engineering, and upon meeting certain conditions, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute on behalf of the City of Ashland any and all documents associated with the loan.
Jen, that's a lead service line.
Yeah, I see that now.
So these are the ones, council, that because we did not adjust the fiscal note, technically we need to defer these until next meeting, correct?
That is correct.
So C and D, and just to clarify for the record, per our discussion in last meeting, we're not going to manage these internally. We're going to be working these through Cuyahoga as we had on the supported paperwork.
Okay.
So on that one,
code, not
So we-
Cuyahoga.
So what are we doing here?
So
so
We just let it die.
or move to table it to the next meeting.
Yeah, so let's
All right.
move to table.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item's tabled.
Item D, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a conditional commitment letter for a Kentucky Infrastructure Authority loan for the Ashland enlarged sewer treatment plant to eliminate overflows project in an amount not to exceed $78,400,000, of which the Cuyahoga loan shall provide $44 million. All right, with $78,400,000. The loan shall provide $44 million for the Department of Engineering upon meeting certain conditions, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute on behalf of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, any and all documents associated with the loan.
Same thing.
Yep. Table it.
Second.
Motion to table.
Okay, we have a motion table, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item's tabled.
Item E, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Brenteg Mid-South, Inc. for the purchase of liquid caustic soda at a price of $1.1250 per gallon, powdered activated carbon at a price of $1.25 per pound, liquid chlorine at a price of $1,680 per ton, and sodium hypochlorite at a price of $2.04 per gallon for the Department of Utilities Division of Water Production and Wastewater Treatment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item F, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Citco Water for the purchase of sulfur dioxide at a price of $1,075 per pound or per ton, and sand at a price of 11 cents per pound for the Department of Utilities Division of Water Production and Wastewater Treatment."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item G, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Polydyne, Inc. for the purchase of liquid polymer for the water treatment plant at a price of $12.556 per gallon, and for the wastewater treatment plant at a price of $11.954 per gallon, and polymer cationic at a price of $1.94 per pound for the Department of Utility Operations, Division of Water Production and Wastewater Treatment.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled "An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Shannon Chemical Corporation for the purchase of potassium permanganate in the amount of $3.17 per pound for the Department of Utilities Division of water production and wastewater treatment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Second reading, item I is second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Univar Solutions USA, Inc. for the purchase of hydrofluorosilicic acid at a price of $3.50 per gallon for the Department of Utilities Division of Water Production and Wastewater Treatment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item J, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with USALCO LLC for the purchase of aluminum sulfate at a price of $1.5818 per gallon, and polyaluminum chloride at a price of $2.8215 per gallon for the Department of Utilities Division of Water Production and Wastewater Treatment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. I could tell you are fascinated by this stuff.
Thank God they're through. Item K,
What you missed last month?
second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a service agreement between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Silversmith, Inc., DBA Silversmith Data, for the purchase of cloud-based software to be utilized for the collection and maintenance of information in support of the City of Ashland's asset manager position, in the initial amount of $15,149 and an annual amount of $6,633 thereafter for the Department of Risk Management.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah. So, I mean, I got to thinking about this, and I believe our asset manager is now doing IT work. What are we going to do with this? I understand what a software might do, but why are we doing this when the asset manager is not doing asset work?
Asset manager is doing asset work. She's also doing IT at this point. So
She's
this-
doing IT work and asset work. When are we going to get a list of our assets?
They're working on that now.
And she's been here how long?
A year.
Nearly a year?
A year.
I thought longer than a year.
I don't know.
I think
she's
she's been
been
here
with the
longer
city
than a
more than a
year.
year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is she doing inventory?
They have started inventory with the directors. This software will help them track the inventory.
Well, I think she's been here more than a year, so what did she do before that? I mean, I'm just curious
No,
because,
I'm sorry, Commissioner, I wasn't ready for the question, but
well,
let me,
it just occurred to me when I was reading this, and I had a question about it.
I don't have my notes with me, but I will be glad to. Asset manager serves as liaison with VC3 with interaction between various departments and personnel representing a considerable contribution to the city and efforts. She's established and maintained and ensured asset spreadsheets, databases for each comparison to KLC's exposure lists and relocated vehicle documents to risk management for rapid review and verification where required for insurance purposes. She's completed department-level asset management practices, evaluation for determination of needs, and to aid in the evaluation selection of a versatile asset management system, which is what we're talking about today. And I've got 9 subcategories if you want me to go through those.
Well, I just wonder how we hire somebody to be an asset manager who's not an IT person and all at once they're an IT.
She's not an IT person. She's doing liaison with VC3. There's nobody else to do liaison here. When Michelle Grubb left the department, they had to fall to somebody. So Mike was able to allow her to do that. It did take away from her asset management focus and duties and responsibilities. When somebody, if there's something, for example, John Franchione is coming next week to do VC3 work. So how does that information get consolidated and sent to him when he comes here to do the work?
What information?
What's down in the city?
What's down in the city?
Who needs a computer installed? Who's having an issue with a printer? So she consolidates that information. That's essentially what she's doing. She's
But
not
that doesn't, well, all right, it's a conversation for another time. I just, go ahead, I'm done. Not happy about stuff like this.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item L, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, repealing ordinance number 73, series of 2021, which required the registration of rental residential housing units within the City of Ashland.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item M, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to request fiscal year 2025 appropriations community funding through Congressman Hal Rogers' office in the amount of $3,800,000 for the Oakview Road Waterline Replacement Project for the Department of Engineering, authorizing acceptance of said funding if awarded, and authorizing and directing the mayor to execute on behalf of the City of Ashland any and all documents and/or agreements associated with the appropriation request and acceptance.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item N, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a right-of-way consent for reclamation and abatement work between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and the Commonwealth of Kentucky Energy and Environment Cabinet Department for Natural Resources Division of Abandoned Mine Lands to complete exploration work, reclamation, and any necessary maintenance activities on certain streets located within the City of Ashland, and authorizing and directing the mayor to execute on behalf of the City of Ashland any and all documents associated with the Ashland North Substance Project.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item O, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, adopting the revised job description for the position of Public Service Officers 1, 2, and 3 in the Department of Police. The classification and compensation plan is adopted by ordinance number 31, series of 2023, as previously amended.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
New business, item A, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a deed of conveyance between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Boyd Company, formerly known as Wayne Supply, conveying a parcel of land located on U.S. Route 16 in the center of Marsh Run pursuant to the lease agreement dated July 24, 1979.
So moved.
Second. Anybody?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah,
Commissioner,
Explain
we
that.
had this explained to us yesterday because we
Yeah.
probably had the same questions you did.
Yeah.
And-
Well, historically, apparently what happened, and this was long before any of us were here.
Yeah.
In 1979, the city issued industrial revenue bonds, and I think it was an amount of $5 million. And apparently at that time, it required the legal title to be in the name of the city. So there was a lease back to Wayne Supply. They paid off the $5 million bonds over time, and then the lease allowed them to continue to occupy the property for a period of time with the option to purchase it for $1. So that's what's happening now. In other words, they paid for it. We never really owned it. We had.
I mean, I wondered why we had something involved out there.
I can't answer that. It was 1979.
Yeah.
I think historically, somebody mentioned, Chief, I think that
They moved
it
them
was
out.
going to be in Ashland originally, and then the site didn't work, or,
And,
Yeah.
and the city moved them out to the county, like that was part of the deal that they moved out to the county, which,
Well, just make sure that it's on the record that the City of Ashland has promoted businesses in the county.
yeah.
For many years. Yeah.
Well, and this is putting it back on the tax rolls, but it's not the city's tax rolls. It'll be on the county's tax rolls.
That's
at
right,
this point.
even better for them.
Yeah.
Because they've, and it was designed that way, but they haven't been paying property taxes for, a long period of time. And they understand.
It says in the,
every year since I've been here.
Yeah, they send the dollar every year.
They were true to their word.
and it's in the center of Marsh Run. So-
Deliver the dollar.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I had that circled. I'm like, I'm confused.
I
Well,
had to ask
the
about
same-
it
We
yesterday.
had the same questions, absolutely. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
First, by item B, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and approving change order number 1 between the City of Ashland, Kentucky and Natar Corporation for the Dawson Pool Lining Project, increasing the contract in the amount of $110,718 for the purchase and installation of a parameter recirculation system.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? My question is, we still on track?
If this, the reason this is on the agenda today is once this is approved, we can move forward to getting these repairs done, and the goal will be still to open by Memorial Day. That's the plan right now.
Sean, we have a lot of faith in you to get this done.
Was-
Because, I don't know if you know this, but the public is expecting it, and we want to live up to that expectation.
Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
Yes.
I do want to mention too, that the reason we get into this is they can't find the change order. They don't see this stuff until they get into the pool, and they start pulling things away, so they just couldn't bid that originally, so I do apologize from that standpoint, but obviously there was more work.
Just like with Easter eggs, there's expectations. So we want to make sure we stay on track, because I don't want to be called or kids crying. Because the pool's
I don't want another episode of Parks and Recreation.
Yes, that's right.
I almost didn't stand up. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you.
So wait, was there much damage at the pool yesterday? Or during that storm? Was there much damage over there?
No, at the pool,
Okay,
you said,
yeah.
no, that was okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah, okay.
Just not on the fiscal note, but it's a flash of the obvious, but a budget adjustment will be needed for this year's budget, and we'll do that paperwork later on. For the budget adjustment, we're spending $110,000
Yeah.
more than we originally
Okay.
budgeted.
Yeah.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Then item C, reading and adoption of a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City of Ashland, Kentucky Authorizing and Directing the Mayor to Execute a Letter of Support for the Salvation Army Northeast Corps' proposal to the Kentucky Housing Corporation for funding to establish a tenant-based rental assistance program to aid the homeless."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Just want to thank the Salvation Army for their continued efforts. Obviously, it's critical. Housing is important to this commission, and to know that you're all working on this gap that has emerged since the loss of another organization's ability to offer the same services. So we appreciate you stepping up for that, and if you need anything else from us, you just let us know. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, do we have executive session?
So move. Oh.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We're going to go into executive session. Only the pending litigation will be discussed. No action will be taken. Record reflect, we've returned from executive session. Only the pending litigation was discussed. No action was taken. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.